just outside of Moab. And I figured we might as well do our 15,000 mile review. It's still looking good. I actually just let air out of the tires, about 15 PSI, because this is set up for towing the toy hauler at the moment. And I'm gonna go that way on a bunch of relatively easy dirt roads. Probably just be going sort of high speed across these dirt roads, scouting out some different campsites to pull the trailer to. She's all dirty from a trip out to Colorado. That's where I'm at if anybody's curious. But I was actually, I thought I was filming and I wasn't, so I gotta redo this part. So anyways, this is what I do a lot of in my truck off-road. This one hasn't seen a lot of serious off-roading yet, but partially because I need to get the Carly suspension kit on here, because even though the suspension does awesome on stuff like this, where I'm doing like 40, 50 miles an hour down these washboardy dirt roads, and man, in my Ford Excursion, I would have been beaten up bad on these washboardy roads, but the coil spring suspension, front and rear on these Ram 2500s, it's amazing how fast I can go on these washboard roads, and it's pretty smooth. I just heard my first rock hit the body, so I just wanted to talk about that. This is the kind of stuff, I love these tires. There are very few rocks being picked up and thrown into the body of my truck. If I was running a BF Goodrich right now, I would probably be hearing almost constant rocks being thrown up into the body of my truck. So the tread design on these is amazing for this kind of stuff. Like, so few rocks are picked up by these tires and thrown into the body of my truck, and that's really important. You know, the trail intersection, let's see where we're at, see where I want to go, because I'm not exactly sure. It's funny, I've ridden, actually I think I know where we are. I think that's the Enduro Loop trail right here. Let's go turn down here and find out. See, this is why we do this. I'm out here pre-running, scouting for campsites. Found this nice open area right up against some beautiful rock formations. Tons of room for friends and family. And it's actually really easy to pull the trailer in here. And if you like to ride like I do, the Enduro Loop trail is right over there, just maybe a quarter mile. If you've never ridden the Enduro Loop trail that's out by the whitewash sand dunes, it's awesome. It's about 45 miles of amazement for that little toy. All right, so let's summarize my review of the Nitto Ridge Grappler tires while we're doing a little off-roading. Overall, I really like these tires. I know I've been harsh for winter performance. Some people take that the wrong way. Think I don't know how to drive a truck or whatever. Whatever, dudes. Been driving a truck for a long time, from Alaska to Utah to Colorado and everywhere in between, and doing shit like this all the time. So don't tell me I don't know how to drive my own damn truck. I really like these tires. They're not the best winter tire. If you want the best winter tire, go buy the Goodyear DuraTrack or the BF Goodrich all-terrain tires. They're great. If you want something more all around, both those tires are going to wear out pretty fast, which is part of the reason I've actually never run either of those tires on a heavy duty truck. I've only put them on Toyotas and 1500 trucks. I've been nervous to put them on a heavy duty truck because I feel like they're going to wear out in 30,000 or less miles, but I've loved them on Toyotas and 1500s. Ridge Grapplers have been awesome. See, if I was in a Toyota, I'd probably jump that. Or if I had my curly suspension and no dirt bike in the back. Cool. Stopped and talked to these guys. They bummed a little extra fuel off of me for one of the 300s. They were worried about running out of gas. But that was good. They gave me some good information on where they like to camp, and they've confirmed that, yeah, camping is no good in Moab at the moment with COVID. They're kicking people out of campsites. Stuff like this, you just want to go so fast and reel around all these turns. Powerline trails are the best. Back on the smooth highway, cruise set to 75. I don't think I finished the summary because I kept getting distracted when I was off-road scouting around, doing a little pre-running. I actually did about somewhere between 50 and 70 miles off-road just now with the Ram. Pretty nice. Definitely need some Carly suspension and some better bump stops. I hit a couple usually drainages where you go up and over a hump, and then on the backside there's a small drainage, and to the eye it doesn't look like anything, but it's big enough to bottom out the suspension on this thing with that heavy Cummins up there. Really like these tires. I'll probably stick with them. I am going to eventually go to a 37-inch tire on these, and I think I'll probably stick with the Ridge Grappler. If you see my other video, I'm a little harsh on the Ridge Grapplers for winter. They've done fine. I mean, I've never gotten stuck or had any scares or problems running them in the winter with this big, heavy diesel truck. They've been fine. So I consider them an average winter tire. If you want a better winter tire, get a BF Goodrich or a Goodyear Duratrack. The Duratrack especially is really good in the winter and the more icy and slushy and slippery conditions. Definitely better than the Ridge Grappler. The Ridge Grappler just doesn't have enough siping to be a great winter tire. I really like these tires. I mean, I'm running 75 on the highway right now, and super quiet, just a tiny little bit of a hum from the tire. Probably can't even hear it on the video. I just did about, I don't know, 60 or 70 miles off-road of mostly high speed, like 40 to 55 miles an hour across washboards and dirt gravel roads. And the thing I don't like about BF Goodriches is they pick up way too many stones and throw them into your paint and chip your paint. And so for the type of off-roading I do, I actually, even though the BF Goodrich is great traction-wise and it's a really great winter tire, I don't really like it for off-roading because it just picks up too many stones. And these Ridge Grapplers pick up hardly any. That whole trip, 60 plus miles off-road I just did at high speeds, I only heard just a couple, maybe 5 stones that probably hit my body during that whole time. And man, with a BF Goodrich, you couldn't even count how many it would have thrown up into the body on something like that. So because of that, and because of how good of an all-around tire this has been, this towing and highway and just everyday life, I'm probably going to stick with the Ridge Grapplers and keep running them for summer and off-road, and even some winter. They're not bad in the winter, they're just not great. They're just kind of average. And I would run them in the winter, just they're fine. I'm not going to have any problems. I know the limitations and how fast to drive or how slow to drive. But I would like to actually have a second set of wheels that are not 37, so I'm not running 37-inch expensive off-road tires all year round. Because in the long run, having a second set of smaller, cheaper tires, it's A, better in the winter, and B, it saves me money because 37-inch tires are freaking expensive. And so if I'm not running those year-round, that's less miles on those, and they last longer. So that's the plan right now. Great tire. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. Only docking it to for its wet and winter performance is not the best, but everywhere else I really like these tires, and I would recommend them, and I would run them. So that's my summary. I didn't get distracted that time because I'm just following a semi truck right now. Okay, the truck has 17,000 miles on it. Taking a lot longer than usual to put miles on this truck because of COVID and not driving as many miles as I usually do. At 15,000 miles, I had the first service done on the truck. The dealer told me that they rotated the tires. I'm pretty sure they didn't. At right around 15,000 miles, I started developing a vibration, a hum, a noise. And I noticed it last time I pulled my toy hauler, and it was loud enough to where I actually was kind of worried I might have something wrong in the driveline or something like that. It was a pretty inconsistent, like fading out and coming back noise in a rhythm, so it wasn't constant. If you look at the edge here, you can see some inconsistent wear on the front. You know, this is kind of angled instead of flat, and it's on the outside edge of both front tires. That's what happens when you don't rotate the tires. So these definitely needed to be rotated at 15,000 miles, and I've been rotating them every 5,000 miles. The front that noise has gotten louder and louder. I now have 17,000 miles on them, and I'm going to rotate them myself because obviously the dealer didn't do that. Because if you look at the rear tire looks perfect. It doesn't have any of the feathering on the edge like the front has developed and what's causing the noise. Tread's looking pretty good considering this is a big, heavy, powerful truck, and probably have around 500 miles of off-road on these, mostly gravel roads. So you can see things like this where stones have cut into the tread a little bit, but pretty normal for the type of driving I do. I wouldn't expect a tire to not chunk a little bit with all the off-roading. After a full summer and a full winter on these, would I buy them again? Yeah, I would. I've been really critical on winter performance on these, and I stand by. They're average in the winter. They're not great, but they're not bad. I can get by in the winter with these just fine, especially four-wheel drive. If you watch my stuck in 1-inch video, yeah, I was messing around and kind of making fun, and of course I wasn't really stuck because put it into four-wheel drive and climb right out. Some people didn't think it was as funny as I did based on my comments. One of the things I love about the Ridge Grappler is they did a really good job with the tread design. This thing very rarely throws stones into the body of my truck, and I love that about these. That's one thing that I really can't stand about the BF Goodrich's. And on an expensive new truck like this, I don't know that I could put a BF Goodrich on here because I know that I'm going to get rock chips along the bottom from those tires. I do a lot of off-roading in southern Utah around Moab and Caneville and all those areas, and I mean, millions of little stones I'm running over, and if I don't have a tread design like this, a lot of them are being thrown into the body, and that sucks. I'd rather give up a little bit of winter performance to gain that tread pattern that doesn't throw stones. And overall, I'm really happy with these. I think they look amazing. They're one of my favorite looking tires. They're great on the highway. They're great towing with. They're a really good tire. I think I'm probably going to get 35 to 40,000 miles, probably at least 40,000 miles, because this is at 17, and you can see I still have quite a lot of tread on them. And it's wearing really good, except that the front had feathering right here making noise. Not quite sure why. I think the dealer didn't rotate them when they said they did, so that's why I'm rotating them now. I'm happy with these tires. I will likely buy them again. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to buy them again when I moved up to a 37-inch tire, but they're definitely on my top 3 list.